Hello there, good evening to you. You're live here on GHOne Television. We bring you news tonight with me, Natalie Fort. Top on the news this evening, minority justifies its decision to abandon parliamentary business to join GHOne in court. Meanwhile, court sets July 11 to rule on motion for stay of proceedings in GHOne's criminal trial on dual citizenship as minority storms court. Also ahead, GES distributes textbooks and teachers' guides for English, Maths and Creative Arts to primary schools 4 years after introduction of new curriculum. Ahead in business, minority demands release of funds for FDA's market surveys following outbreak of anthrax disease. And on the international front, fuel demand falls in Nigeria following end of subsidies. Details of these stories and much more news here on News Tonight. Do stay with us. Watching News Tonight all across the world, you can follow this bulletin on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram at GH1 TV. We're also live on DSTV channel 361. Let's get started. In Parliament, as Member of Parliament for Tamale Central constituency has debunked allegations that he accused his colleague MP, Ursula Owusu-Ekufo, of being an LGBTQI practitioner. In a heated debate in Parliament on Wednesday during the adoption of the report on the promotion of proper human sexual rights and Ghanaian family values bill, the Blekuma West MP berated her colleague from Tamale Central for accusing her of indulging in gay sex. However, in an interview on GH Today with Lantam Papanko, the Tamale Central MP denied ever calling her such.
I never used the word practitioner.
So what did you say?
I'm coming.
What did you say off mic?
I'm coming, Lantam. I never used the word practitioner. I never did. And in fact, I wasn't even the only person from our side who were all like taking jabs. As long as you have been to Parliament, our mics were off. Ursula was saying more about them. We never took offense because she said it off mic. If Ursula said more but the understanding of it in tree is you guys are mad, is that not the case? And she made that statement when Honorable Defia Mokpo was challenging some of the things she said in her submission. Now, what I said vividly, because we said a lot of things, and remember when the speaker asked me to withdraw, I asked the speaker to tell me specifically which statement. The speaker could not tell me which statement because whatever statement any of us made, it was made off the mic.
You're watching News Tonight. Let's get to Insight next.
Insight is brought to you by Pepsodent Herbal for strong teeth and gums and Pepsodent Charcoal for natural whiter teeth.
On Insight this evening, we put focus on the minority in Parliament, which has justified its decision to boycott Parliament to join Asin North MP James GHOne in court for his criminal trial. Parliament was forced to end sitting today given the limited numbers in the chamber. Speaking to GHOneNews, MP for Zibila and former Majority Leader Cletus Avoka explained the move was to protest the persecution of the Asin North MP and other members of the minority. The former Interior Minister accused the Nana Addo administration of abuse of the powers of state.
We as the minority are saying that anytime that person is in the court, we will go and sympathize with him, solidarize with him. That is the commitment that we have. And by doing that, we are going to send a message. This is a hung parliament. So President and MPP government, listen to us. Today we made an impact. The chamber was empty. That everybody in the world gets to do. Today the ports were overwhelmed, were overfilled, and some some of the judges expressed their happiness that we have come there and the rest of them. And that is also a signal. They should have avoided this type of scenario. So we are trying to deepen democracy. We are trying to say that yes, the rule of law is there, but there should be no persecution. There should be no undue and unnecessary harassment that they are orchestrating or facing.
So that's the latest development from Parliament. Let's get onto the phone lines now and engage with Sammy Obing. He's the Executive Director of Parliamentary Monitoring Group, PN Africa. Good evening to you, and thanks a lot for joining us here on News Tonight.
Good evening. Thanks for having me.
Now, we know that as an organization, you earlier urged these NDC MPs to refrain from sacrificing parliamentary business for going about and supporting the MP, GHOne, on this. What do you make and how do you react to the fact that eventually they did, in fact, carry out this threat?
Well, it is unfortunate that they did. And the very reason why we requested that they would refrain from this played out today. We have said that in the NDC MPs embarking on this boycott, they would not only be hampering government business in Parliament, but it also had the potential to affect businesses that they themselves as members of Parliament had initiated, including questions that have been tabled for and on behalf of their constituents to ask ministers of state. And we saw that today in Parliament, there were quite a number of parliamentary questions bordering on education, bordering on, I think, health, bordering on tourism, that came up, which needed to be asked by members of the minority side, and they were nowhere to be found. The only silver lining in this dark cloud could perhaps be that the Speaker announced that they had reached some level of agreement to allow these questions to be rescheduled for another day, rather than the normal parliamentary practice where if you're a member of Parliament and you have your question tabled for a particular day and you do not show up, the question lapses. And so these were the reasons why we thought that they could have approached this differently. And it comes to us as quite an unfortunate news that they went ahead with it.
They could have approached this differently. We've had events of walkouts, for example, during, say, State of the Nation addresses for where the minority is registering their displeasure. This is not exactly the same situation. Is it normal parliamentary practice for us to see such actions by the minority?
Well, walkouts, boycotts, and what have you, even including heckling and filibustering, are very standard parliamentary practices the world over, which parliamentarians are within their right to exercise. However, as an organization, Parliamentary Network Africa, we have always said that these approaches hamper the representational role of members of Parliament, and the people who suffer the most when their MPs are not in Parliament to represent them are us, the constituents. And so far as we are concerned, Parliaments are better off when members of Parliament stay in the chamber and, register their protest or their displeasure on a matter through what Parliament does best, to debate issues, to talk about issues, rather than walking out. After all, we are told that the word Parliament emanates from the French word parler, which means to speak. So if that place is the house where speaking gets done, then people must not move away from the practice of speaking about whatever it is that bothers them. Especially also when speaking about it and not walking away, helps them to better represent their people at all times.
In rounding up, you say, how differently would you have advised that this was taken by the minority? Because it could, in fact, set somewhat of a bad precedent. How differently should they have approached it in the event that they're looking to move to court each time he's appearing in court?
Agree also with the fact that Mr. Kwesi, we are not happy with the fact that Mr. Kwesi will have to be going to court every day or every now and then, because that also affects his own work as a member of parliament, and that is also not good for the good people of Asin North. And that is why we thought that both the majority and minority would have jaw about this. If the majority has the Attorney General being one of their folks in the executive branch, how can we have a discussion? How can we work out this case in such a way that, it will not affect parliamentary business? After all, Parliament adjourns on the 9th of August. Would it be so suicidal that this particular matter will take place, around those times and beyond? Would it be suicidal if these cases are held on Mondays, which are days that Parliament do not sit? Those are conversations that we expect that both sides, who are probably having the country at heart, will be having around these times.
Very well. Sammy Obing, thank you for your time this evening. That's Executive Director of Parliamentary Monitoring Group PN Africa. Now, it was a massive show of support in court on Thursday as embattled National Democratic Congress Member of Parliament for Asin North, James GHOne, enjoyed the full support of the minority caucus in Parliament. Before Justice Mary Mame Yanzu's heavily packed courtroom, lawyers of James GHOne, led by Chachu Chikata, asked the court to stay its proceedings pending an appeal they have lodged against its ruling on June 23, which dismissed the motion for review or variation of orders. Now, Chachu Chikata, while moving the motion, said the court's ruling on June 23 made 5 key errors in law, including unfair exercise of discretionary powers as prescribed by the 1992 Constitution. He argued that the court erred in law when it failed to appreciate that the exercise of this discretion and therefore violated the 1992 Constitution. He argued further that Article 296 of the Constitution made it clear that the discretionary power that is being exercised should be done in many certain ways, and pointed out to the court some prejudicial comments made by the president, including playing in open court. Nana Akufo-Addo's recent remarks that James GHOne would be jailed prior to the recent by-election, but the Attorney General Godfred Yeboah-Dame opposed to the motion and described it as irrelevant. He also objected to the playing of the audio on the president in court. The Attorney General again debunked claims that he had made prejudicial comments about the pending trial and urged the court to dismiss the application. Justice Mary Mame Yanzu, after listening to the parties, fixed July 11 to rule on the motion. Some of the MPs who stormed the court are Minority Leader Dr. Kasiel Atto-Forson, Emmanuel Kofi Amabwa, Alfred Oko Vanderpoy, Jifa Gomashi, Samuel Okujoto Ablakwa, Kwabena Minta Akando, Cletus Avoka, Collins Dauda, Agnes Na Momolate, Rashid Pelpo, among others. And meanwhile, the opposition NDC has taken on the Minister for Justice, Godfred Yeboah-Dame, for what they say is his prejudicial comments on the ongoing trial of the Member of Parliament for Asin North, James GHOne. Communications officer of the opposition party who spoke to the media on Thursday at the Law Court Complex said Godfred Yeboah-Dame does not deserve to be in that office.
Minister for Justice and Attorney General Godfred Yeboah-Dame has come under a barrage of attacks over some comments his accusers claim are prejudicial in the ongoing trial of Member of Parliament for Asin North, James GHOne. His stance on the ongoing trial has caused the embattled MP's legal team to file a stay of execution on the daily hearing of his case amidst accusations of political witch hunting coming from some quarters. Communications officer of the opposition NDC, Sami Jemfi, who was among the leadership of the party to accompany James GHOne to court on Thursday, while addressing the media after hearing of the case, said Ghana currently has no Minister for Justice.
One thing is clear in all these things. In all these things, what is clear is that Ghana today does not have a Minister of Justice. We may have an Attorney General who is the principal legal advisor to the President, but we don't have a Minister of Justice. Because the man who bears that title has demonstrated time and again that he doesn't deserve that title. He doesn't understand the responsibilities that come with that title. He's not interested in doing justice. He's not interested in a fair trial. He's only interested in abusing his prosecutorial powers.
Sami Jemfi served a note of caution to the government that despite attempts to harass and intimidate members of the NDC in Parliament, the party stands resolute and united behind them.
In the coming days, we will be addressing you in the media and by extension the good people of this country on these issues. We'll be putting before you incontrovertible facts about the conduct of this Attorney General and Minister of Justice, which are inimical to the interests of the state.
On his part, a member of the legal team of the opposition party, Abraham Amaliba, called on the Attorney General and Minister for Justice to ensure the trial is held in accordance with laid down rules. According to him, the boycott of Parliament by the minority will affect governance in the country.
This case will have an effect on Parliament. So it's for Attorney General to pull the brakes and ensure that this case is heard in accordance with the principles of fair trial and hearing.
Now we've got Dr. Frederick Ojo, governance expert, joining us for more on this particular development. Dr. Ojo, thanks for joining us this evening. Now, it seems as though we've got sort of a subtle battle of sorts between Parliament and the judiciary. That's as far as James Jatta-Kweson's case is concerned. Do you view it as such, and what's the impact on governance as a whole?
Well, I mean, it's going to affect the work of parliamentary office. You realize that you have a majority side, I mean, the NPP side, who have drawn quite a good number of their MPs from their members of parliament. And these are the people who are expected to serve as ministers and also go to parliament, which means that even to muster the 40% of the members of parliament to begin proceedings, the NPP side would always need to be in parliament to get business done. That means the work of the executive is going to suffer, if that's what's going to happen. Then if they need to pass any bill, they need, virtually every member of the NPP side and be voting. So it's going to be a big challenge to particularly the conduct of the work of parliament itself, and then it also have implications for the work of the executive. So yes, if a compromise is not reached, I think it doesn't bode well for our government.
Certainly, they have expressed that the desire is to be present each time the MP appears for its criminal trial. You say it doesn't augur well for our government in general. What sort of middle ground would you propose they reach with regards to this?
You see, I'm very careful in making comments about some of these issues, especially since they are criminal matters in nature. However, particularly in the case of Mr. Jatta-Kweson, if it is feasible to drop that case, I don't see anything wrong with that. However, I can't say same about that of the ambulance issue that has implication on somebody like Dr. Atufo, because I think we are all talking about corruption. Even in the present government, there are incidences of corruption that every right-thinking member of the society would want to condemn. But if there is a situation of that nature to do with the ambulance, I do not know the culpability of
Dr. Tufosin in that manner.
So in rounding up, to clarify, you said in the event that there's a possibility to drop the case concerning James Gyatcha-Quayson, you would prefer that? Looks like we've lost Dr. Frederick Odro there, but certainly some very key points made by him on this particular issue. Certainly more on it on subsequent bulletins here on GH1 television. That wraps up Insights for tonight.
Insight was brought to you by Pepsodent Herbal for strong teeth and gums and Pepsodent Charcoal for natural whiter teeth.
You're welcome back to News Tonight. And some more news this evening, politics related. Each election cycle witnesses an increasing trend of alleged vote buying by some politicians and political parties. The two parties which have often been accused of such acts, the governing MPP and the opposition NDC, have both denied such allegations. The Coalition of Domestic Election Observers, CODEO, however, insists the incidence of vote buying was rife during the Asin North by-election.
The just ended by-elections in Kumewu and Asin North witnessed accusations and counter-accusations from both the governing NPP and the opposition NDC regarding the use of money and other materials to induce voters. The governing party was accused of sharing amounts ranging from 200 to 400 cedis to some persons, while the opposition NDC was also accused of sharing between 50 cedis and 100 cedis. Aside from money, items such as clothes, Wellington boots, cutlasses, and weedicides were distributed to some voters by both political parties in their bid to lure them to vote for them. While anti-corruption campaigners see this development as an affront to democratic development, Director of Local Government at the Presidency, Dennis Miracles Abuaji, thinks otherwise. According to him, money given to voters during elections is an integral part of democracy.
We are calling it vote buying. We are saying that it's mobilization and facilitation. Just as I went to Asin North and my party gave me fuel and I went there. If I want somebody to also travel from his community to the polling station and he doesn't have, I factor it into my political party's plans and budget. You understand? That doesn't mean that when he goes to the ballot box in the cage, I'm there with him. The academics and all those people, they can say whatever. They haven't run any election before. They haven't lost elections before. They haven't pasted posters before. They haven't been to the hinterlands before. They haven't gone to the villages before. If they have, they will understand that there is a vast difference between the theory and then the practice. The number of projects we have in Asin North, it is far more than all the projects NDC have done in all the times they've been in government. And yet Asin North voted against us. Why were they not bought? Why were they not induced with all those interventions?
He insists that people vote for political parties based on their beliefs and not due to monetary inducements. For him, vote buying can be established if it is proven that money or items given to a voter informed their decision.
You can only establish vote buying when you have evidence to show that a person's decision to vote for A or B is as a result of a gift, money, or any form that was received from a political party or a politician. Are you saying that, Miracles, if I go to K2 South today and I go with $100 million and I line the people up and I give each of them $10,000 and I tell them to vote for me as an MPP candidate, they will vote for me? Are you also saying that if even His Excellency John Mahama should go to Bantama today and line them up and give them 10,000 cedis, the people $10,000 each, the people of Bantama will vote for him? As a matter of fact, anytime the issue of vote buying comes in and you look at the facts and the figures, you realize that it contradicts that position. When we're going to Asin North, didn't we hear MPP is buying votes, MPP is giving them money? Did MPP win? Your view, it doesn't matter, it's a fact. Show evidence of a constituency or a polling station where 1,000 people were voting, the 900 of them were paid, and they got 900 votes.
But can money given to voters influence their decision to vote for a particular party or an individual?
I went to Kumewu for the by-election. So when I went to Kumewu, most of us, we are MPP guys who have been working for the party since then. So we were on grounds to campaign for the party. During that time, at the Kumewu by-election, when we were asked to go on house-to-house meetings and campaigning for the party, most of the voters were asking, after the message has been done, they will be asking, oh, please, if you don't give me money, I won't go and vote. Which was very embarrassing because as every house that we want, we were paying money there. As every house that we want to at Kumewu, for the by-election, we were paying money every house that we go. After the message, they will ask you, please, can we get something for food? Can we get something for this? Can we get something? It was a whole lot. So for me, I think mostly it happens between the voters.
Vote buying a day. Because Oko before Oko campaign by-election me dear to be bra, but me from Unia and Nanu Banabaso Nano Cranami was enough. wawura fie bi mu a woka no na obi ache o mokra mo ba enimu wo kra no na wo department but na ye hu se ne ya ma me ka ba ku bi a metim nti wakowura fie na wo campaign se yento na yenye ya kwan no and nipa ne se mo ama iska me ne mabusua de yento aba no
me feel na so bi ba say me this comment about their metal because me force no me one of the aba.
For some stakeholders, money will continue to play a role in our politics, but stakeholders in the governance sector insist that effort must be made to deal with the situation. But the question is, how soon can we take money out of our electoral process?
Evelyn Arba Adu's reports there. Let's turn to education now. The Ghana Education Service, GES, says it has distributed textbooks and teachers' guides for maths, English and creative arts to all primary schools across the country. The Public Relations Officer for the GES, Cassandra Chum Ampofu, who disclosed this, says the service is in the process of procuring textbooks for the remaining subjects for primary schools while working fervently to procure all textbooks for the junior high schools. Now, this comes after the service came under intense criticism from some stakeholders over the lack of textbooks in schools after the introduction of a new curriculum.
All the common core learner resource pack and the teacher resource pack have been distributed in all schools. We have the full complement now. Now, when it comes to the specific the textbooks, we are in the process. The ministry is in the process of procuring textbooks for them. But what we always say is that yes, the textbooks, they are good. They are just supplements to what we have in the system. We have moved away from the objective-based curriculum. Now we are using the standard-based. And the standard-based is creative-oriented. Yes, textbooks for primary schools, we have started, we have distributed them. At least I can say we have maths in the system, we have English, we have science, we have creative arts. For junior high school, we have the teacher resource pack, we have the learner resource pack, and the ministry is also in the process of procuring the junior high school textbooks.
Now, barely a month after Vice President Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia disclosed that all senior high school students will be given laptops, the Ghana Education Service has also assured the Ministry of Education is indeed working to ensure that this materializes. The Public Relations Officer for GES, Cassandra Chum Ampofu, spoke with GHOneNews, but she did not provide any timelines.
The ministry is working so hard in getting all students a laptop, a tablet. You know, we are in the digitization era, and so we can't also say that because we don't have internet access everywhere, we can't wait. The world is moving. The world is not moving, waiting for anyone. And so that is what the ministry is about doing, and then very soon I know it will be launched, and then we can have a proper engagement or discussions on that. But yes, very soon all students would have a tablet, and then we'll have every content on it. It's going to be offline and online a device as well, so that even if you are at a location where you do not have access to internet, or the internet speed is not that, at least the offline mode would help you learn. So that's what the ministry is driving at.
Well, we'll see how soon that materializes. Away from education, let's return to politics. Vetting for 10 flag-bearer aspirants of the new Patriotic Party has ended, with former MP for Mampong, Engineer Adai Nemo, engaging the media after the vetting process. Spokesperson of the vetting committee, Obi Amwa, intimated the committee is satisfied with the composure of the aspirants and will in due course present its reports to the National Executive Council of the party.
The vetting of the aspirants commenced on Monday, July 3, 2023, with various aspirants taking turns to be vetted. Alan Kojo Tremantin, Kojo Poku, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia took their turn on Monday, with Tuesday seeing Boachi Tremantin Ejakon, Kobna J. Japon, and Kennedy Ohini Ejapon, Dr. Kofi Kunedo Apreku, Dr. Ifriye Owusu Akoto, and Joe Gatti took their turn on Wednesday. The last to be vetted is former MP for Mampong in the Ashanti region, Engineer Adai Nemo. Addressing journalists after facing the vetting committee, the flag bearer hopeful said He is confident of making it to the top 5 after the special delegates elections.
2014 was my first time in seeking to lead the MPP. And at that time, I was described as the unknown person. And out of 7, I came in 3rd. So I am highly optimistic of coming out to be part of the first 5 and to go for the main contest in November and to lead the party. That is it. And so I want to urge the media that let us see this contest as a free contest. It is not a contest for any 2-3 personalities. It is a contest for all the 10.
Engaging the media after the process, spokesperson of the vetting committee and MP for Ikuapem South constituency, Osei Bonsu Amua, described the process as transparent.
Person who appeared before us was decorous, respected the committee, and answered our questions. We've had no occasion to say that anybody has misconducted himself. Even when the person thought probably the question was unexpected, they've answered the questions to our satisfaction. And they themselves are aware that the rules and regulations require that they appear before us and perform their duty as required by the Constitution.
At the end of the vetting, the party has slated July 10, 2023, where a special vetting report will be submitted to the National Executive through the Office of the General Secretary. After that process, the party has slated August 26th, where a special election will be held to elect top 5. After that process, a flag bearer election will be held where one candidate will be elected to represent the New Patriotic Party for the 2024 general elections. For GHOneNews, Obed Kingaglo, Kuklum Nimli, Accra.
Watching news tonight here on GH1 television. Let's turn to some other stories. Past students of the Our Lady of Apostles Senior High School in the Volta regional town of Ho are set to put up a 700-bed capacity dormitory for students of the school as part of its 70th anniversary celebrations. This was disclosed at the launch of the 70th anniversary of the all-female school, which started in 1954. The building is set to be a flagship project to celebrate the school's 70th anniversary and help deal with accommodation challenges.
The 700-bed capacity dormitory, when completed, will help deal with the current accommodation challenges the students face. The construction of the facility is being led by the past students of the school who have started raising some funds towards it. Benedicta Maunyo Agbesudo is the headmistress of Ola Girls Senior High School, and she says the project couldn't have come at a better time.
Currently, with the new education policy, we have population rise to 3,500, and we know that Ola being a first choice school for most girls in the country, next year may give us a greater population, and so infrastructure challenge is very serious for us.
A past student of the school, Roberta Macaulay, whose husband is Dr. Daniel Macaulay and CEO of Magdan Group of Companies, donated 100,000 cedis towards the project. Addressing the media on the sidelines of the anniversary launch, she said it was a pleasure to support girl child education.
My husband believes in educating the people of Ghana, because without education, the country cannot move forward. So the foundation is donating to help the education system continue its good work.
The Ola Girls Senior High School was originally established in 1954 in Keta, but moved to Ho later and will turn 70 in February of 2024. The construction of the dormitory is top of the agenda as the school celebrates the anniversary, and all students are expected to contribute to the realization of this dream.
We've got business news next on News Tonight with Wisi Dede.
We have some stories from the Pensioner Bondholders Forum who are picketing in our subsequent days, and we have some stories from the Tamale Timber Market. We'll be back shortly. Well, the Pensioner Bondholders Forum will begin in Thursday, July 13, 2023. Resume picketing at the Finance Ministry if government does not settle outstanding coupon payment on their bonds. Convener for the group, Dr. Edu Anani Enchi, explains that their earlier decision to suspend picketing was due to government's effort to clear some of the arrears in the month of June, but the government is yet to settle the amount in full. The forum, although unhappy with the lack of priority attached to their payment, says they will resort to picketing to get government's attention.
We've monitored the payments. We realized that the 26th one was not paid. And then the last Monday, another coupon became due. So now making it 2 coupons in arrears. As a sign of goodwill, we've decided to still give government a window of opportunity to make those payments this week. So this week, we are not picketing. We will wait for another week. Next week, another coupon will be due on Monday. That will make it 3. If by Wednesday we haven't received the 3 coupons that will be due us at that time, next week, Wednesday, then we will take a decision to resume the picketing next week, Thursday, if these payments are not made. We thought that when government has said, giving instruction to its own cashier, that prioritize the payment of these coupons to these elderly people, it was going to happen. We are not going back to the ministry to ask why you gave instructions and the instructions are not being followed. They must follow on with that instruction.
But the minority in Parliament is sounding a public health alarm over decision by the Food and Drugs Authority to stop its market surveys. According to the minority, the FDA has in recent times failed to conduct such survey due to lack of funds. Addressing the media in Parliament, minority spokesperson on health, Kwabena Mita Kando, called on the Finance Minister to immediately release fund to the FDA, especially given the outbreak of the anthrax disease, to avoid any public health crisis.
And one of the functions of the Food and Drugs Authority is to provide standards for sales of foods, medical equipment and drugs. And some of the activities leading to the performance of these duties or functions includes 1, the market surveillance, and 2 is what they call GMP, the General Manufacturing Processes Inspection. These are very, very key activities that helps the Food and Drugs Authority to perform its functions. Now, it will interest you to know that Food and Drugs Authority has stopped these activities, subjecting everybody in the public to a very high risk. In fact, the market surveillance is what allows the Food and Drugs Authority to authenticate the wholesomeness or otherwise of foods and other products in the system. The market surveillance. And so with the emergence or the outbreak of anthrax, everybody would have expected that the Food and Drugs Authority would have intensified its operations. But unfortunately, they have stopped this market surveillance. The GMP inspection also allows the Food and Drugs Authority to also set standards or to inspect standards for processes and manufacturing in the companies, whether or not they are following the right standard, both within the country and outside the country. So medicines or drugs and foods that are imported into this country, Food and Drugs Authority sends their personnel outside the country to inspect, to go on inspection those companies, whether they are doing the right thing. But as I speak to you now, they have stopped these activities. And the only reason they are giving is that the Food and Drugs Authority is broke. They have no money. The minister responsible for finance is refusing to release money to the authority.
The Tamale Timber Market Board Sellers Association have voiced the opposition to the sale of any portion of the market land to private developers. They claim that the land belongs to the Forestry Commission as a forest reserve, and they pay rent as quarters to the commission. There's more in this report.
The controversy arose when the Tamale Metropolitan Assembly issued an eviction notice to the wood dealers trading close to the road to make way for a private developer constructing a multi-purpose structure. In response, the timber squatters filed an interim injunction suit at the Tamale High Court against the Lands Commission and the Assembly. The restraining order aims to prevent the planned demolition exercise in the timber market. Abdullahi Abdul Ganihu, the public relations officer for the Tamale Timber Market Board Sellers Association, expressed their firm stance against any attempt to sell the market land, emphasizing its status as a forest reserve.
We are more than 2,000 here, shop owners and masters, let alone their boys who are supporting and also getting something out of this place. So when you sack them from this place, where are you taking? You are denying so many people, so many families. They are going to lose their livelihood. So we are praying that the government or whosoever is in charge of that will think through this decision. It's not a good decision for Mother Ghana. I believe that people are there trying to make money out of this, and we are not going to accept it. If even it means taking our lives, we'll fight for it. We don't care. This is where we belong, and this belongs to us. We are going to take it from them. They can't do anything with it.
Whilst the association is open to market restructuring for improved revenue generation, they challenge the Assembly to prioritize completing unfinished projects instead of selling the land to private developers.
We can only accept that they come to say, okay, fine, restructure, remodel where you are sitting. If you say, yeah, this place you have been here for this much, let's restructure your place so that we can get the number of people who are here, the number of shops that are here, so that we can take our taxes. That one we can agree to that. But to take us from this place, I don't think that is reasonable. Look at the buildings they are putting up there. One is over there, is not completed. Who is occupying it? The top there is not finished. They should go and finish it. We have a bigger market right across the road. Inside the market you are seeing, there is a very huge that can contain the whole of this. It was started around in Champon's time. It's not finished. They should go and finish it and allow us to build this one.
Master trainers within the market also raised concerns about the potential sale of the land, highlighting the negative impact it could have on youth skills development in woodwork and the subsequent increase in unemployment.
The children at the background there, they are undergoing training, and this training would make them be a better person in their work tomorrow and probably support themselves. We live here to depend on, to work, earn something and then support our family, and then those depending on us.
So we are here, we are training them, livelihood, people are life are betting on us.
The issue of the sale of the Tamale Timber Market land remained unresolved, with the association and the timber industry workers determined to protect their interests.
And that's it for Business with me. I will see Dede Jange.
if you just joined us. You're watching News Tonight here on GH1 Television. It's now time for the latest from the world of sports with Monica Bukari.
Hello, Natalie. Well, Coach Samuel Bwedu has named his squad for the WAFU Zone B tournament. We also have news from the CAF Women's Champions League, all coming up shortly. Do stay with us after this breather. Thanks for joining us. Now, head coach of the national under-17 side, the Black Meteors, Samuel Bwedu, has named his 20-man squad for the upcoming WAFU B Under-20 Boys Cup of Nations. The list includes Bichem United winger Lenton Dodu and Shadrach Ado of Kumasi Asante Kotoko. The list also includes Black Meteors duo Aaron Isel and Kelvin Nkrumah. The tournament, according to the Ghana Football Association, is opened to players born after January 1st, 2023. However, the GFA has decided to also involve players who were born in 2005 as part of a conscious effort to build a solid team for the 2024 WAFU B Under-20 Cup of Nations, the Under-20 Cup of Nations and the FIFA Under-20 World Cup. Ghana is paired with host Cote d'Ivoire, Niger, Burkina Faso in Group A, while Togo square off with Benin in Group B. The tournament is scheduled to take place from July 1st, 2023. We'll have 6 other countries from West Africa sub-region vying for the trophy. Now to women's football. In the Ghana Women's Premier League, champions GHOne ladies have been drawn in Group B alongside AS Garde Nationale of Niger and Amé du Monde of Togo in the CAF Women's Champions League Zone B qualifiers. The draw of the CAF Women's Champions League officially took place on Wednesday in Morocco at the Mohammed VI Complex in Rabat, Morocco. This tournament is the 3rd edition of Africa's major women's football interclub championship, and it is due to take place in Cote d'Ivoire, with 7 clubs competing for continental supremacy once again as the games commence in the early days of August 2023. Ghana Women's Premier League champions GHOne ladies has been drawn in Group B together with AS Garde Nationale of Niger and Amé du Monde of Togo in the CAF Women's Champions League Zone B qualifiers. The Techiman-based side got an opportunity after defeating Hazakes ladies in the final of the Ghana Women's Premier League and are set to represent Ghana on Africa's biggest stage. The other pairing in Group A consists of Delta Queens from Nigeria, Atletico de Abidjan from Ivory Coast, USFA from Burkina Faso, and Samneli FC from the Benin Republic. The 2 top teams from each group will slug it out in the semi-final, with the winner expected to qualify for the 3rd edition of the club competition built for Cote d'Ivoire. Morocco's AS FAR Rabat are the reigning CAF Women's Winners League queens, having dethroned the original winners, Mamelodi Sundowns, who won the trophy scheduled to begin in August 18 in Nigeria, with the winner booking the only CAF Women's Champions League ticket available to WAFU Zone B. To golf, and as part of efforts to celebrate the Salah festivities, the Bok Nam Kim came to life with golfers competing for honors. There is more in the following report.
About 30 golfers from Alaji Babies and Nana Kreku All-Stars battled it out on the golf course for supremacy and the bragging right stake. After several hours on the golf course, golfers from Nana Kreku All-Stars team proved too hot to handle on the course for their opponent Alaji Babies, as they amassed a total point of 6.5. Alaji Babies 4.5 points to emerge winners on the day. Speaking to GH1 Sport after the event, Speaking to GH1 TV Sport after the event at the Bokenam Kem Golf Club, Air Commodore Nana Kreku, whose side carried the day, says they will continue to use golf to foster unity among them, which he believes will go a long way to also help uplift the image of the Bokenam Kem Golf Club.
This is a one-off event. The club has its own program. We play tournaments throughout the year.
That'll be it for Sports on News tonight with me, Monica Bukari. Back to you, Natalie.
Thank you, Monica, for the sports news. You've got entertainment news next. On GHOne, a Nigerian musician, Inyanya, says he was not aware he was featured in Yvonne Nelson's memoir, I Am Not Yvonne Nelson. In his first interview since the book was put out on sale, the former partner of Yvonne Nelson said he would have taken a different approach if he were to author a memoir.
What's your reaction?
I was hot. I won't lie to you. At first, I was hot.
How did you hear it?
Because I was sleeping. And I just woke up to missed calls and all of that. And then I called one of my doctor friend, and he was like, no way, you've not seen the book. I'm like, what book? And then that's how I knew. So I now called my guys, and they said, yeah, she wrote a book. I don't have any problem with.
Also, it means that she didn't even contact you to tell you that.
No, she actually.
I'm going to put you in my book.
Listen, she did. So she buzzed me. She said she was, launching her book, and she needed a video to endorse the book, which I made the video. I didn't know I was in the book.
Oh, really?
I didn't know the book had.
But she wanted your endorsement without telling you you're featured in the book?
No, don't make it sound like that. Let me get the story out.
All right. Okay.
So I did that because obviously we're cool, like I said. So when the book came out, I now knew I was in the book. That's how I knew I was in the book. I didn't know I was in the book at first. That's why I made the video like it's cool, you guys check it out. If I ever put out a book, I won't call people's names out. Like,
oh no, just a book. I mean, about you.
Yeah, I'll just talk about my life. I don't have to tell you about who I had this with that. I guess we're all different, I'll just tell you about my challenges as a human being, how I overcame those challenges. I think maybe later in life I'll do that. Maybe I'm not here or something.
I'm not.
Certainly many reactions on Yvonne Nelson's memoir for quite some time to come. You're watching News Tonight. We've got international. Consumption has fallen in Nigeria since President Bola Tinubu removed costly subsidies. This is according to figures released to the Reuters news agency by the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority. The average daily petrol consumption reportedly reached 48.43 million litres in June, down from the previous average of 66.9 million. The end of subsidies has caused fuel prices to nearly triple, leading to a rise in transport costs and higher food and electricity prices for many Nigerians using petrol generators. As always, we've got a lot more international and local stories available on our website, starfm.com.gh. That draws the curtains on News Tonight. It was led by Alice Aite. I'm Natalie Fort. Have a wonderful evening.
I love you.